If you're new to hanging out with us here on this show, I do this once a week, and we spend a couple of hours hanging out. It's great for musicians because you get resources that apply to you. I do reviews that are just a way of trying to help you get better at your songwriting, at your instrumentation, at your mix. So you get a lot out of this. If you're not a musician, you get the opportunity to find some new music from independent artists that you probably wouldn't hear otherwise. Little something for everybody. It's always fun to sort of showcase a couple of musicians and do an interview here on the show. That will be happening here in just a bit. For independent musicians, there is a way to submit music to be reviewed here on the show, and you can do that in my link tree. What that is a form that sends me some info on the song so I can have it queued up here. Iox is here and had submitted a song to be reviewed. The song is called Skywalker. Iox, say hey. That is Iox the reptile. Checked out your profile. Interesting stuff. Would love to know a little bit more about you, but I think we're not supposed to know too much about you. But Iox, I want to congratulate you. I'm about to play your song, and this is actually just a little milestone in Devin Song Reviews. You will now be the 100th song reviewed on Devin Song Reviews. So that's kind of cool. Been going at it for a little while now, and have changed the format of how I do this. But you are number 100. So congrats. So this is Iox with Skywalker. We're going to take a listen, and I'll give you some thoughts.
I know I'm hitting the high road. They could got high hopes, stepping from the tight ropes, depending on nobody. Him is who we fighting for. You know we got a bright soul, dreams that have your mind blown. Hard to fit it in words, lacking words of expression. Before music kicked in, feel like a victim of oppression. Working my way up the ladder, I got my mind on progression. Boy, you just gotta trust the plan and take the time of recession. Gotta touch the clouds and know how it feels like. Higher than the mountain, what the atmosphere is like. No matter how many times I get shut, hand me the mic. I get up again and say, give me some real fight. Cause I ain't coming down, ready hit the concrete ground. Only know one route, and this for sure not south. I go and make my fan proud, and this the glimpse, the crowds. No rest but grind until you hear the speakers banging my sound, saying something around the lines of hold your breath.
Yeah, so Iox, I really like the vibe of your song. So a couple of things I'm hearing right off the bat is the reverb on the vocals is kind of heavy. It's not quite fitting in with the rest of the instruments. I like the pitched vocal that you did here. Brings in a new element that's kind of cool.
As I'm here, I won't let me down. You gotta see what I see. I walk upon the clouds. Father told me to soar, mother build up my wings. Brother told me to win, to say the fire to win. So fast as thunder, I'm cosmic, weight on my shoulders. Exhausted, feel like I'm tired and nauseous.
Yeah, you could do it. You could do okay with some more low end on the kick. Bring that kick up. Because one thing I'm not feeling overly connected to the song, and so that's what your kick and your snare is going to do for you. Is it's going to make me very much feel the song, and right now I'm just not feeling enough of the kick. As far as spacing goes, I think you've done a great job finding space for the different vocals that are happening right now. So even though we have the pitched vocal, we still have another vocal that's somewhat normal, sort of a background. Okay, here's a perfect example in this spot right here of the heavy reverb. Kind of curious as to the ending there. What kind of sound sample was that? It almost sounds like a road, but it also sounds like an ocean. So I'm kind of curious what you use there. But hey, Iox, that was really cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, some of the things I mentioned there throughout the song is you have to be very, very careful with the amount of reverb that you're using. In that case, it was just too heavy. So dial that back some and bring up the kick so that I feel more of it. Your kick and your snare are what's driving your listener to feel the song. And so make sure that those two items are properly where they should be. A great way of doing that, if you've never heard of top-down mixing, I talk about this a lot, where you start with the kick and the snare at the top, and then as you're adding other instruments into your mix, you're making sure that they're not overtaking your kick and your snare. What that does is it limits the chance for you to lose your kick and your snare, which is part of what the energy is going to be when the song is finished. Bring down the reverb, bring up the kick. You can also just add an EQ after the reverb and take out a lot of that low end. That will help the reverb itself not muddy things up. So you said it's like hearing my song on the radio for the first time. That's what we're here to do. I want to give you some feedback on your mix there. Your song was just heard by people who may not have heard it otherwise, but I'm also trying to give you something just to get better as an independent musician. So maybe next time you're going to mix, just remember those things. Be very careful with the reverb. Be intentional with your reverb. Don't lose your snick. Your snick. That's the kick and the snare is a snick now. I just coined that phrase. Thank you so much for sharing that. Hope you got something out of this. Would love to have you stick around, and we're going to continue the show. Anytime that I have somebody here on the show, I prefer that they're a musician as well, because again, this show is, yes, it's for non-musicians. They can hang out, have fun, find new music. But it's really meant for independent musicians to get some resources and learn something. We're all in this community together just trying to get better at all the things that you have to do as an independent musician. I did have another song submission. So this is by a Dakoda Rollins, and the song is called Like I Need You. And so this was another song that was submitted this week. Let's listen to it and see what it's all about. So again, Dakoda Rollins with Like I Need You. Maybe that's what we were hearing at the end of the last song. I thought that was on the end of your song. Hi, Ox. Okay, very cool start. Very synthy. I like that little tremolo, how it fades out. So here's the kick is coming in. I'm feeling it. It's where it needs to be. It's a little thin though. It sounds more like a tom than a kick drum. Oh, very good vocals. Waiting by the phone, how much more I gotta take? Nice use of delay. Breathe in, breathe out, that's all I can do. But what keeps me living all nights with you? We're very careful to pick and choose what words we do and don't want to use. So the vocals are very clean and up front, but not too far up front. There's not a whole lot going on instrumental-wise, but we're making good use of the space so that nothing's getting lost. Wanna make you need me, like the way I need you. Spend my time just thinking about the next time I can see you. So it sounds like what happened there, if you noticed, when it entered this part, it seemed to get louder. And essentially what just happened is they just filled up more. There was a lot of stuff in the center, and then it sounds like as that part came in, it just widened. And so it wasn't necessarily louder, but it felt louder, and that's how you can kind of move the song along and add to the dynamics of the song. Yeah, y'all just drop your artist name and song in the comments. That was cool, kind of taking the kick away for a second. Let the tears fall down, that's all I can do. Maybe one day they'll be called by you.
that you'll see me, but I'm just feeling see-through. Wanna make you need me like the way I need you.
Okay. So again, that is Dakoda Rollins with Like I Need You. I think I hit on a few things during the song. Vocals were very clean. The spacing of the instruments was right where they needed to be. There wasn't too much of misuse of anything. Dynamics-wise, you get to the chorus, rather than just turning everything up a decibel or two, what you can do is you can actually keep more of your instruments towards the center as the song is starting and progressing. And then when you hit those choruses or hooks, you can just add some stuff, or even just take the same stuff and start panning it left and right. Again, it's called perceived loudness or perceived volume. When I am recording a song, I use that all the time in choruses and, instrumentals, parts of the song where it needs to have more energy. Is usually I just add another guitar. So I take a guitar, I double it, I put one on the left and one on the right that's just panned wider than everything else that's come in so far, and it just adds to the build up of the song and the dynamics of the song. That was a great song. The only thing I would sort of critique is I felt like it needed something else to move it along. At over 4 minutes for the song, it seemed to me like it got a little repetitive, and it sort of not trying to be mean or anything, but it sort of lost my interest at about the 3 minute mark. So if it's not adding to the song, hard thing to do when you're a self-produced independent musician is making those mix decisions, that if it's not adding to the song, just to take it out. And so if you were producing somebody else's music, it would be easier for you to make those decisions if needed. And when you're doing your own music, sometimes it's just hard to make those decisions because you're emotionally attached to those decisions. So we learned a little bit about that from Phil Rota last week, and I thought that was a really good point from him. This week, I will be releasing, finally, some Devin song reviews playlist on Spotify, and those will be divided to similar genres. Obviously, genres can get very specific, and you can go on and on and on forever, but I'm going to do my best to limit this to 4, maybe 5 playlists that just each playlist has similar styles to it. So if you're into a certain style, you probably will stick around and listen to more of the playlist if it's your style, rather than jumping around to different genres the whole time. So this is Y, the band, WHY, and the song is Calloused Heart, and Y is here in the chat with us hanging out. Let's listen to the music, and I will give my review. Success is subjective. Yeah, I think you're doing well. Has a real solid rock sound to it, which is cool. So the distortion on that guitar is very fuzzy, which is also a nice element of that rock vibe. Yeah, I can tell U2 is probably an influence of yours. I was about to say, there better be a solo coming up. Super cool, very awesome, like legit rock feel to that song. It's mixed very well. It was produced well. I do have one critique. I had to listen really hard to find one, but I got to give you one thing, and I didn't want to interrupt when the guitar solo was happening, but that's when I noticed something. There is a lead guitar part that was kind of carrying these few little notes in the background throughout the song. When the solo came in, I felt like it wasn't spaced away from that other lead guitar enough. What I would have done is I would have just moved one of those things to the other side. I was hearing a lot of the lead guitar in my left. Typically with lead guitars, they're going to be closer to the center. So it's not like anything was wrong with that. It's just in that one moment, if you're going to continue that other lead guitar part, I would just move the that solo lead just to, a little bit to the right. So I've done that before. It's hard sometimes to do that. And again, this is just me. Super awesome song. Really glad we got a chance to listen to it. I just had to find one little thing I could critique because I wanted to give you something. Thank you for sharing that. I think everybody enjoyed that. I don't think we're tooting your horn when it has a very U2 vibe to it. So if that is a influence and you take that as a compliment, that's great because it definitely sounded like that to me. And Sinclair says, how's your music going, Dino Nate? And boy, Sinclair, are you in for a treat today because that is who we are interviewing because his EP is being released this week. And I have the EP, and I will be playing my favorite song off of the new EP. today before it is released on the 29th. And that's a fun story. It started here in Devin Song Reviews probably a little over a month ago, maybe a month ago. Hopped in and asked me to review his song, listened to it, absolutely loved it because it's very much my genre that I enjoy the most. Been talking a good bit outside of here, and so it comes around full circle. You hop in here, let me listen to a song, let me review it. Next thing you know, we're bringing you on for an interview to talk about your EP release. So that is the power of Devin Song Reviews, and I really like that that's the case. I'm always looking for songs to review. I'm always looking for artists to interview, always looking for new music, and anything I can do to help you guys promote yourselves, I'm down to do it, and that is what this is all about. The music industry has changed so much. And for independent musicians, it's changed so much. You don't necessarily need the label. You can do a lot of this promoting yourself and all the other things. So I want to somewhat take back the music industry and do something different. And I believe that is through community. And so I believe that community is the new industry. So that's what we are trying to do here. If anybody wants to tag along and be part of this community, we would love to have you. Okay, so this is Furious with Valentines. Let's listen. There's some of that tremolo effect that we heard earlier.
It just defines heartbroken away from ships. I'm asking will you be mine? Let's go and check the time. Will you be my Valentine's? Let's go have the best fun of our lives. Sweet boys of mine. It just defines heartbroken away from ships. I'm asking will you be mine? Go and check the time. Will you be my Valentine's? Let's go have the best fun of our lives. It was the first day that I met you. Nothing to think, nothing so special. I'm too busy giving out the records. My heart too busy growing up in a bundle. Separate my heart from my soul. Please help me know my reference. Many options, but your life shows. I'm 15, making music roll. I saw you shopping at Honda Killer. Come to my way, pop in my building. We can go explore Calloused Heart. Mention that you were pretty. You were my number one. The grace you got is just like the sun. Voice of mine, it just defines heartbroken away from ships. I'm asking will you be mine? Go and check the time. Will you be my Valentine's? Let's go have the best fun of our lives. Sweet voice of mine, it just defines heartbroken away from ships. I'm asking will you be mine? Go and check the time. Will you be my Valentine's? Let's go have the best fun of our lives. My heart goes to you. You give off a lovely hue. Your personality is just too much. You were just a blend of both. I'ma kick it up till my life drops. I'm just having fun, living life out. Come on, let's have a little fun now. I hope I make you mine. Please be my sweet Valentine. The sweet voice of mine, it just defines heartbroken away from ships. I'm asking will you be mine? Go and check the time. Will you be my Valentine's? Let's go have the best fun of our lives. Sweet voice of mine, it just defines heartbroken away from ships. I'm asking will you be mine? Go and check the time. Will you be my Valentine's? Let's go have the best fun of our lives.
For those that don't know Furious, unless he's turned 16 since the last time we talked, this is a 15-year-old who's putting out music. It's very impressive. I think what we had talked about the first time and a little bit about the second time we listened to it was there's a tendency to try to fit too many words in and it gets jumbled up. This was so much better. So I'm going to take credit for giving that advice. This was way better than the first one we listened to as far as that goes. I personally think the key that you picked is slightly out of your range. When you got up to your higher register a couple of times, it got very thin. Some vocal tuning would probably help with that, and then also just backing it with a lower background vocal. Even if it's something very minor that not a lot of people pick up on. Like, you could do some breathy, almost whispering vocals that follow that, and it will just add a little bit of meat when you get up in that higher register and it gets thin. Maybe try that next time compared to where we listened to the first time. Super impressed to see that you are progressing. Hopefully I can be a part of this for a long time to come, and I can't wait to see what this guy does. Y'all, this is Furious. Fantastic. Keep at it. Keep trying. You're definitely progressing. I can tell. The instrumentation of that sounded really good. That kick, I was feeling it. I was feeling the energy. It wasn't used too much. The vocals were slightly too far back. So keep experimenting with getting those to sit right in the mix. It's never going to be easy. Keep experimenting and you'll get better and better every time. Everybody loves it though. So congrats. Give yourself a pat on the back because you are doing fantastic things. Those of you that do not know, Dino Nate is the handle here. This is Nathan. His artist moniker is nkwm. Nathan came on here and submitted some music during a live one day. We listened to it. I loved it. Now it's come full circle, and he's about to come on for an interview. And he's also about to release a debut EP on the 29th called Long Story Short. And I have had the chance to listen to it, and I'm really excited with the direction that he's going with these things. We are going to real quickly listen to the song that he shared with us here the first time. Then we will have him come on, and we're going to talk for a bit. And then, if you stick around, I will be playing one of his songs that is coming out on his debut EP on the 29th. That is not released yet, but I happen to have it in my possession, and so you'll get to hear that before anybody else, right here on Devin Song Reviews. As a little introduction, if you haven't heard of NKWM before, this is a short but sweet song called Never Know, and then we will be having them on.
My face in the mirror, I don't recognize it, it's not getting clear. My faith in myself is constantly changing, maybe I need some help. I'm all bottled up, I'm about to explode, I don't give a fuck. Time going faster, life is too short to not know what I am after. Will I ever be who I wanna be? Will I ever go where I wanna go? I guess we'll never know.
And there you have it, the song that started it all here on Devin Song Reviews. So Nathan, go ahead and hit that guest request, and we'll hop on and we will get started with a very fun interview. You got an EP coming out, and
Yes, sir.
you are here now, and we're excited to be able to talk to you about it. I'm excited to play it for everybody because I get to, like, I don't know. I've heard it and I like it, and it's like nobody else has heard it, so I'm like excited to share some of it, which I know you're excited about releasing.
I am
this EP
so excited about releasing it. I'm ready. It was definitely a time recording it. Didn't take me too long, but we're here, and I'm ready for everyone to hear these songs I wrote.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, you jumped into one of my lives, probably about a month ago, and we just kind of been hanging out, and we talk about this community that we're trying to build out here, and you're there, so we appreciate you being part of that. And this is exciting because this is like the first time I get to introduce like an EP release. So
Yeah, that's awesome. the community's been so welcoming with you guys. I've been talking to a ton of people that I hooked up with when I guess TikTok just started, and I've been in a collective with them, and we're all promoting, pre-saving each other. Like you said, it's the music industry has changed so much, and us people who don't have a lot of tie-ins to that industry who are trying to make it, we're all kind of coming together and pushing each other up, getting exposure for each other. I've seen it with a ton of people on here, and I'm here for the ride. I'm loving it.
Let's go. Well, hey man, take a minute or two and just introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are, and because I kind of forget that maybe some people don't know you yet. So take a minute and let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Nathan. I go as NKWM, which actually stands for Nobody Knows What Matters. Also, they are my initials. I am from the Ottawa Valley in Canada. I play pop punk acoustic, as you heard in my song there that I released as a single, Never Know.
You kind of covered what NKWM stands for. So what does that mean to you, and how did you decide on that name?
I went with NKWM again because it is my initials, and I didn't want to go by my own name, so my name is Nathan Milligan, and I didn't want to go by that. I'm a solo artist, and there's a ton of solo artists who go by stage names. Dashboard Confessional, one of my big people that I really listen to, Jack's Mannequin. So I chose NKWM, and the reason I came on the abbreviation thing is I seen some cool people doing it. Someone mentioned Juice World earlier, so kind of like that stuff. Honestly, it's the R&B rap hip hop. I saw all those dudes doing it, and I'm like, I don't care if I'm playing pop punk, that's cool, and I'm totally taking on that.
I use the moniker of part-time poet. Again, Dashboard Confessional, Secondhand Serenade was one that kind of pushed me to do something like that. We may be a country away, but we have a lot of similarities. So
Oh, 100%.
yeah, so you mentioned a couple of bands there. So tell us about your musical influences. So I'm sure Dashboard Confessional is one of those.
Huge.
But yeah, what all are your musical influences?
I started playing guitar when I was 13, 14. Bigger bands, up and coming, were Sum 41, All American Rejects. My dad, he's a musical guy himself. I got him to buy me my first guitar for Christmas. And since then, I got him to teach me to play things like Sum 41, All American Rejects. But from there, I have a sister who's older. So she's in college and I'm 14, 15. So she's in with all the cool music. So she's bringing home mixtapes of like Dashboard Confessional, Thursday, Taking Back Sunday, Early November, Something Corporate. And it's blowing my mind. And I'm like, okay, I heard this stuff on Much Music, but there's a whole other scene going on here. So I got huge into the drive-through record scene. And from there, that just set me up for my huge influences. Hello Goodbye, Midtown, Something Corporate, Newfound Glory, I believe. Really big ones for me.
I feel that. Again, sounds like we had very similar experiences, because that's about the same age that I started, was bought my first guitar at 14. I can definitely hear those influences in your music, and as soon as I heard it, I was just kind of like, yeah, like I can hear the influences here.
I'm trying to bring back that nostalgic feel too. Everyone wants a nostalgic high these days, and I'm like, I love writing this kind of music. I've been doing it for so long, it doesn't take much for me. There's no one playing this kind of music, I feel, right now that isn't big. Like, I know Dashboard Confessional, he's still doing his thing. This Wildlife is heavy on TikTok. I see them here all the time. They're great. But there's no one new. And that's why I'm trying to break through there to be like, hey, this music still exists. I'm here.
You can play off the nostalgia factor. I never left it. It amazes me that people don't listen to Fall Out Boy every day. Like, I forget that that's the case. My thing is, the music I've always listened to and the music that I have written has just never really changed from that. So for me, it's not nostalgia. I'm just like, it's just new music. It's called elder emo, by the way. Like, if you don't know
elder emo, yep, I'm there.
I think there is a comeback for the genre as a whole. But for me, it just never went away. It's just finally we have new music to listen to.
It's true, but I mean, it did kind of you're right. I've never left listening to this. This is I've been here since I was 14, and I haven't left. There's been almost 3 waves. The first wave with early November, Taking Back Sunday, that 2004. And then we had the era with, I guess I'm skipping the emo. I'm talking more about like pop punk stuff. And then we get to 2012. This is another heavy influence for at least my singing, The Story So Far. It's like pop punk came back, but it was pretty heavy. And again, a lot of these dudes like me who were into the emo hardcore scene also really liked the pop punk stuff. So some of these guys were coming out, like Story So Far. I guess they're pretty more on the light side, but Chunk, Captain Chunk, they came out, and I was like, well, like we're doing this now. We can combine these two. So back in 2012, I was in a band called Vandalay, and it was very much like a heavy hardcore Blink 182. The EP is on YouTube. You can go listen to it. It was so much fun. Friends with Benefits is what it's called. It was really heavy kind of Blink 182 stuff. I mean, I've always been around for it. No, you're right.
The pop punk scene and the emo scene, and then even like the post-hardcore stuff, everything's sort of like intertwined to the era that you're talking about with nostalgia. So it didn't go away. It just kind of took a break, and people stopped making the music because, you know, there was a taste for something else. And I think we're seeing some of that taste come back, where you see these kids now and they listen to pop punk music and they're like, oh, this is awesome. Like, yeah, I have an 8-year-old daughter who's like, she loves the I'm Just a Kid by Simple Plan because she's a kid. Like, I'm just like,
exactly.
I love this. I love that you love this because, my goodness, I want this to come back. But so I'm always curious about the songwriting process for musicians, because we all have something slightly different. What does your songwriting process look like?
John Mayer once said, and I've taken this and rode with it. I love John Mayer, by the way. And he said, if you pick up guitar and it's not going anywhere, if you're just sitting there and you're not getting a song out of it, just move on with your day, you know, and come back to it. So anytime I pick up a guitar, if nothing's coming out of it, I mean, it hangs on the wall. No matter what time of the day, maybe it's me coming from the gym, maybe I just put the kids down for bed. I'll grab my guitar, I start fiddling. If I hear a riff and I get like real emotion out of it, I run with it. Because one thing I am trying to do with NKWM is write real. Everything from my songs are pure real stories. I'm really trying to put my pride behind me and put myself fully out there and write real music. So that's really my process. I'll pick up my guitar. If I'm playing a riff, maybe I had heavy stuff on my mind and that music that I'm playing relates to it, I start writing that song. And actually that's how a lot of this EP was written.
So what I hear is you're more of the music comes before the lyrics type of songwriter.
100%. I'll be basically playing a riff, and if I feel that emotion that I can write with, that's how I run with it.
Yeah, like I said, everybody's process looks different. And that's like the age-old question. Does the music come first or do the lyrics come first? Sometimes it's one or the other. Sometimes they just somehow mesh together at the same time. It's a very hard thing to explain. If you've never sat down with a guitar and written a song, it's hard to explain what that process looks like. So you write your own music, obviously.
100%, yeah.
You record your own music.
I recorded my own music in my
professional
studio.
Yeah. So you just have a home studio?
You could say that. I have a 2008 MacBook, a condenser mic, a audio interface, and I record around the house.
And that's what I say all the time is, I said it last week, the barrier to entry for independent musicians to get started is as low as it's ever been, because
100%.
What you just described, maybe $300 worth of equipment, because is that
exactly
the AT2020 that you're using?
It is.
Okay, so I've got one of those. It's $100, right? Interface, you can get a Scarlett Solo for $100. It's,
100%.
It's very easy to do that, and you can create good music.
Exactly. And I mean, okay, that being said, I have my audio engineering degree, so that may have helped.
You just segued into exactly what I was about to say, is a lot of it, if you can get a good recording, you don't have to have a professional studio to do that, but if you can get a good recording, it's all about what you can do with the recording
Exactly.
after that. So as you are mixing your own music, because this is like a completely different skill. So I didn't know you were that experienced, so that's fun. Like, again, we were talking about earlier the difference between an instrumentalist and a musician. And so musician is like, okay, I wrote the song and then I recorded it, and then you have to put on your producer hat to do the next part.
Worst hat.
Right. Everybody, again, has something different that is really challenging to them in that mixing process. What is that to you? What is the most difficult part of the mix phase for you?
Everybody has one of their favorite instruments, and I always find that's the one thing that you're mixing almost too loud. So you have to learn to really listen to a whole mix, not just one thing. I love doing vocals. I love doing the harmonies. It's 100% my favorite part
So
of
you're a psychopath,
recording.
is what you're saying.
I always have to remind myself to push those vocals back to let everything flow in together, so my vocals aren't super loud and everything flows well. But then also you have to fill that space so it doesn't sound so thin in between. With this EP, that was difficult because all I have are vocals and acoustic guitar. To fill a whole space with that, it was definitely a bit of a challenge.
The more simple the instrumentation is, it makes it more difficult to actually mix it in a sense, because you have a lot of space that you have to find something to fill it with. And I think once you add those other instruments, I think you're talking about trying to do some of that on the next EP.
Actually, an EP that I already have recorded. It's
Yeah.
basically done. I need drums on it, and that's it.
Right. But yeah, like just adding drums just kind of takes the focus away from those few things, and it livens everything up. Yeah, very interesting. So the most challenging part for you is like just finding the space and then making sure that your vocals aren't too loud.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, funny story about even this EP coming out. The reason this EP even happened, I started recording it in October of 2021 because I had this whole other EP recorded. 5 songs, guitars, bass, no drums. And I had a buddy who was going to do it for me and just kept on backing out. And then every few months I'd be like, hey man, I really want to release this. You said we would do drums, let's do it. And he's like, yep, okay, I'm working on it. And then I wouldn't hear it from him. I reached out to a couple. I've literally been ghosted out by 3 different people. So I have that EP recorded. And then I was like, you know what? I have to release music. I want to release something. And that's how the acoustic EP happened, because I knew I could write it on my own. I could do it on my own. I wasn't relying on anybody at this point. Went with it.
That brings up a really good point about session musicians. The world is a smaller place now. The last few tracks that I've done, J-Rod has been my drummer. He's in California. And, my buddy Darren is up in New Hampshire, and people all over the place. And,
Yep.
It's not that hard to work with people over the internet now. But again, like being a session musician is not just, oh yeah, I can play my guitar and I can record it and I can send it to you. A lot of it has to do with also like how easy are you to work with? Like collabing with other people who are hard or difficult to work with. Man, that
It pisses me off. Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Any musicians that are watching, if you want to collab with other people, not only do you have to be able to give them a good recording, you have to be able to work well with people, and you can't ghost them when they're excited about a project. You lose that excitement about a project, and you lose the air in your cells, right? Like,
Yeah, no, it's true.
at some point we all get to that point in the song where I'm like, I am so sick of hearing this. By the time it releases, like I don't want to hear it again. You've got to get as far as you can before the excitement starts to go away. And if you're trying to work with other instrumentalists and they're taking the fun away, it doesn't get off the ground.
I'm egotistical this way. I love listening to myself. I know some people are like, I hate the sound of my voice. Oh man, I could listen to that. I made on the way home from we went to Ottawa for the spa for like a honeymoon and stuff. On the way home from that, I made the wife, we listened to my EP on the way back. I was like, this comes out Friday. I have to make sure we're good.
I have to hear how it sounds on all of the different opportunities.
Exactly.
I can't stand mixing my vocals, so that's why I called you a psychopath. Like, very rarely do I hear people that are like, "Yeah, that's my favorite part." I'm like,
Oh,
"You're crazy."
I love listening to myself. That's crazy. I'm crazy.
Yeah, sounds like it. I talk about your music makes a statement, whether you want it to or not. Some people are aware of the statement they're making with their music. Some people don't really see it that way. But your music is for somebody. So in your case, the music that you create, who is that music for?
I use my music as my own type of, I guess, like therapy outlet. I mean, and I imagine a ton of musicians do. It's basically what music is good therapy. And again, like I said, I like to write real. So I was actually going to name this EP All Doubt. Instead of Long Story Short, because I just feel through my songs you hear a lot of doubt in myself. It's something that we have to all come to terms with. We all doubt ourselves all the time. It's very normal. I write music to just put my story out there and hope people maybe, hey, I feel the same way. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to doubt yourself. It happens. And we all move past it and live another day.
My last song that I released, it's not a super happy song, but it was just like, the idea is reminding you that you're not alone in those things. And sometimes when, you mentioned music can be therapeutic. And so what I'm hearing from you is it is for the people who need music as a therapy, and to
100%.
to know that it can be emotional. You're not the only one feeling that. Anybody that goes through any of that stuff, it feels very lonely, isolated. It can be rough. And so you can forget that, hey, other people go through the same stuff too. And that's what I love about music,
exactly.
is being able to connect to different emotions. And I think I've always been drawn to, what you would consider emo music, just because there's emotion attached to it. It's not just a song to dance to. That's never been my thing. It's more of like, I really want to dive into how this music makes me feel. And
exactly.
Your type of music actually makes me feel something, as opposed to just something to listen to. So it's like reading a good book.
Yeah.
You get entrenched into it, rather than you're not just reading words, you're like in the story.
Exactly. I mean, Never Know, first song on the EP, just about doubting yourself, not knowing where your life is going, and not as planned out as you wanted it to be. But I've come to terms that that's life. None of us know. Nobody knows what matters. You know what I mean?
There it is.
Keep Me Warm was about actually when I moved to the Ottawa Valley, I left a pretty big life behind. I was in a band, Vandalay. We were touring, we were making good music. We almost got a manager, we were going places. I left that behind just to come live a more comfortable life here in Ontario. So that song is about that. And my wife, got married Saturday.
Boom.
So now wife, she came up here and she left her whole life behind too for me. So that song was about that. Drama Summer starting line cover. Your Friendly Obsession is a song about my wife. Just that I did want to spend the rest of my life with her. Kind of that. Breathe was about 2 years ago when my father had cardiac arrest, and I had to go through the scenario of doing CPR and resuscitating somebody on the floor of my own house. So I always try to write real, and I always hope that somebody relates that it's okay to not be okay. It's better to feel these feelings and know that they're normal, and it makes you 100% happier person, I tell you. People see me as a bubbly, really happy guy. I work a 9 to 5. I have a wife and kids and family, and then and they see me as this really positive dude. And then they listen to my music, and they're like, "Whoa, okay." They're like, "You seem so happy. Like your music's a little different than that." Again, it comes back to that's my therapy. That's where I write my real stuff. That's where I let my emotions out that I need to get out. So for me to put music out, I feel it's a little harder, where it is 100% real and very personal stuff. So
Nice, great explanation all around. As far as therapy goes, when you're writing the music, that's how you're getting it out of your system. You can still be happy and write sad music, but I like that you keep throwing around Right Real, which is going to be your hashtag moving forward, because
Right Real.
Right Real. I like it. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is don't shy away from writing the truth. There's a stigma attached to that. Like, should we just write about everything's happy, go lucky all the time? No, because that's not how life is. Life is not what you see on Facebook with everybody's pictures and everybody's smiling and everything's great all the time.
Exactly.
That's just the front that's being put up for what's really going on in life. And we all should understand as adults, there's a whole lot more that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see on your friend's Facebook page. Right Real. I love it. Why should people listen to this EP that's being released on April 29th?
We're all going through life, not knowing where it's going, and it's not as planned as we thought or what we were told as kids. Again, Right Real. All of the songs are real, and I really feel that people who are going through the same kind of stuff that we've been talking about will really relate to it. I honestly just want to write about my own personal experiences of life and hope that someone would connect with it. I've been really excited to put myself out there. I live in a small town who loves the country music, so I'm trying to push up my way from Ottawa Valley to Ottawa to get into this scene. So the more people that listen to it, the more I get to exposure and get to jump on this music train. I wanted to write these songs, release them. If they get taken on, that's awesome. If people like them, which I mean, I've already felt that through yourselves, the other communities. So thank you for that. I mean, my Spotify numbers are not low, which I'm really enjoying. I'm quite surprised. I only started this in October, and here we are, April. I'm releasing an EP. I'm getting tons of exposure. It's a great feeling. In 2019, when this pandemic hit, and I feel like this is a story that everyone has, we fell in that rut of being inside a ton, stuck with the same people around. Not that I don't love these people, but it's the same people all the time. And I said, I'm not going to let myself stay in this rut. So I made a list of obtainable goals. One was to start writing music again since the first time in like 2014. One was to start reading again and working out. That's honestly how NKWM started. I was in a mental rut. I wanted to dig myself out and to put this out there.
What's one last thing to close this out that you would like to say to anybody watching this?
Obviously, go listen to my EP on April 29th on Spotify, all streaming services. It's a ton of real tracks, and I'm really excited for everybody to hear them. I plan on releasing a ton of more music. Again, I have another EP in the works, and hit me up. I'm on TikTok a ton. I'm down for collabing. I'm definitely not a shy person to hit up.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and kick you off here, and I'm going to play...
All right. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. I super appreciate you coming on here. It's been fun, and I will talk to you on the other side for sure.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
I think that was a really fun conversation to have. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. His artist name is NKWM, and there is a debut EP release for his EP called Long Story Short that is releasing on April 29th. Super exciting stuff. And again, I've had the chance to listen to the entire thing already. So what I did is I wanted to share a song, and he allowed me to pick one. So I picked my favorite off of it. And I think it is the one that Sinclair was talking about. So this song is called Breathe, and it will be on his EP that's coming out on the 29th. So you are hearing it first here on Devin's Song Reviews. Without further ado, Breathe off of the the new EP releasing on the 29th called Long Story Short. But here is Breathe.
I saw your life without your chest, laying motionless here on the floor. The wood crawls, pressed against behind your back, thinking what the fuck you had in store. Don't know why these flashing lights took long, begging to hold on for minutes more. Is life just a game and we're here for nothing more? This meaningless routine, thrown right out the door. Your life turned into these four white walls, wandering these empty halls, thinking if you could ever leave your whole life turned all upside down, wandering around. But you're still here to make us smile. Turned into these four dark walls, wandering these old house halls, thinking that we will forget your whole life turned all upside down, figuring it out. But you're still here to make us smile. Promise me you'll stay a while.
And there it is. That is the unreleased song called Breathe by NKWM, with the new EP being released on April 29th, which is this coming week. So really great song. That was my favorite. Everybody else can decide on what their favorite will be, but you're going to have to wait a few days, unfortunately. But you got to hear a little sneak preview of the EP right here, and again, appreciate Nathan coming on and talking with us today. It was a lot of fun. So as always, I hope that anybody watching this got something out of this today. I hope you had fun hanging out, because that's what I want this to be, is just a fun hang once a week, and but also get some resources out of it. We're evolving, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. The main thing is this is Devin's song reviews. That's how things started, and I need more music to be submitted to be able to review it. So it seems like I'm getting 2 to 3 a week, and I'd like to have more, because that's what the show, half of the show is supposed to be, is just listening to music and, giving some critique so that we can get better at that side of things. So if you know of any musicians that want to have their song played here, on this, like somebody was saying earlier, it's almost like hearing it on the radio station for the first time. Anybody that wants to do that, have them go to my link tree in my bio, submit their music to be released, and I will let them know when it's going to be on the show, so they can tune in and actually see everybody's feedback to it. If you know of musicians who would like to come on for an interview, they can reach out to me as well, because my calendar has a lot of empty space on it, and I can't do this alone, so I need some help. So this is a weekly thing. I am in the Central Time Zone. It is 2 to 4 o'clock Central Time every Saturday. I'm keeping it to the same time on the same day so that you kind of know when it's coming. And that's my goal, is to make this like a television show back in the day that you would tune into, and that way we can just have some interaction together, and something to look forward to each week. And if I did it any more often, I don't think I could do it very well. So you got a new release for me to review. Go to my link tree and submit it in that form if you would. That is what is keeping me organized after I got that 1,000 submissions by asking for them. So now I'm more organized, and for this show to to get accomplished what I want it to, I do have to kind of stay organized with things. But yeah, so if y'all know of anybody that wants their song reviewed or wants to come onto the show, get them in touch with me, and I'd love to do that. And find an independent musician and give them a hug around the neck this week, so we could use it. So thank y'all for hanging out, and I will see y'all later.